Greeting Midcoast Ukers, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the all-important end of two. We've discussed this before, but I'd like to do a review and go maybe even a little further into this subject. So that thing I did in the intro, that was just improvised, that was just made up. It was a little jam, maybe influenced by the Rolling Stones or something, and using the chords C, F, with the pinky still on C. If you don't know that trick already, that's a great one. See that? I'm doing C with my pinky, and then I leave that down while I form an F chord, and it gives this real smooth chord change. And then I threw in the first time G7, but then the second time I threw in G. So basically C, F, G, 1, 4, 5 in the key of C. But what I'd like to focus on is the rhythm, the strum. And so that had the all-important end of two in it. It had a tie between the end of 2 and 3. So you might be saying to yourself, what is the end of 2? Well, let's talk about that. We're measuring the rhythm today using eighth notes. So every half a beat is its own slice of the measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That gives us 8 eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that is slicing the measure into 8 equal pieces. The numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 happen when your foot taps. And then the ands are in between those numbers. They're when your foot lifts off the floor. So it's tap, lift, tap, lift, tap, lift, tap, lift. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that is where we get our and of 2. It's that and that comes right after beat 2. 1 and 2 and. That's a really important part of the measure, because most syncopation in music, most catchy strums and rhythms, whether it be Rolling Stones and Creedence Clearwater and that sort of thing, Neil Young, or jazz, swing, Latin, reggae, etc. A lot of syncopation happens on that end of 2. That's why I call it the all-important end of 2, because that's where most syncopation lives in Western popular music of the 20th century and beyond. So when you think about that end of 2, 1 and 2 and, it's right there. Or if you're only counting downs and ups, down, up, right there, that fourth event, down, up. So you can do many things right there. One of the things you can do is hold that end of 2 into beat 3. Don't strike the ukulele again on beat 3. That gives you the famous calypso strum. Which is actually not just the calypso strum, it's folk strums and Beatles strums and Dylan strums, and it's a whole lot of things. But it's most famous for being in calypso music. Shines daily on the mountain top. Da, 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 da. Like Jamaica Farewell. And then lots of other, if you listen to Caribbean music and you get into calypso, you'll hear that in lots of other songs too. Folk songs of Jamaica and more modern calypso songs from, say, the 30s, 40s, 50s. It's interesting stuff. It's really good music. And that's not the only place you're going to hear this, of course, is in the calypso strum. But you're going to hear it in anything that's Latin. Anything that goes like... So little things like that have an awful lot of syncopation in them, and things that happen off the beat on the all-important end of 2. And also, if you're listening to something that swings, if it's jazz, something like this maybe. What a wonderful night for a moon dance. Moon Dance by Van Morrison. Pretty jazzy little rock song, but it has a whole lot of swing in it because it's hitting on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and always on that end of 2. So many styles of music use that all important end of 2. That's my kind of pet name for it. It's just another way of saying syncopation. Syncopation can happen on other beats, but this I'd like to, for this tutorial anyway, focus on that particular spot, the all-important end of 2. So once again, let's review. You've got 8 different ways to, well, 8 different divisions in a measure. You can slice it up into 1/8 notes and get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and by doing that, that allows you 8 different places to pause or rest or even hold. And when you pause, rest, or hold on the offbeats, that gives you syncopation. That gives you something that sounds a little more rhythmically sophisticated than just strumming on the downbeats. If you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a very plain and simple rhythm. But if you go 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, and, that's a little hipper and a little bit more interesting to play and listen to. So it's that all-important end of 2 that gives us all those strums. In Midcoast Ukes, we have tons of songs that use that all-important end of 2. Everything from the Creedence Clearwater songs that we do to 4 Strong Winds, the Neil Young version of 4 Strong Winds, you name it, Jamaica Farewell. Just about everything we do has that, with some exceptions. So hope you understand what I talk about when I say the all-important end of 2. And let me know if there's any questions. If any of this didn't make sense, I'll re-explain it, explain it differently, or I'll sit down with you and give you a little lesson on the all-important end of 2. All right, Midcoast Ukers, you take care, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.